Welcome to Experimental Podcast, episode numero dos, number 2. Now, today we're talking about something that can cause a lot of money to come flying right out of your pocket and into somebody else's, or out of your paycheck or out of your bank account. So that is why we are doing an audio only video today. Okay. We were going to do a video podcast, but I need for you to hear what I have to say because it can save you not just stress, not just strife, but like I said, a ton of money, because what we're talking about today only exists on social media. Now, that may sound funny, but here's the deal. Well, actually, you know what? First, let me say this. If you're looking for my videos on how to remove foreclosures and repossessions and bankruptcies and charge-offs and collections and late payments, this is not that, but I have over 500 videos right here on my channel that teaches you how to do this yourself for free using factual-based disputes. And you shouldn't be using anything else. No templates, no online disputes, no illegal identity theft credit sweeps, but just factual-based disputes. So if that's what you're looking for, head over to my main channel. I will put a link somewhere like right now at the top right of the screen, and you can just go click there and land on one of those videos yourself. Okay. Now, before we get into what I'm going to say, if you are looking for someone to actually get your results the right way, without templates, without online disputes, without lying to you, without the illegal identity theft method, then head over to my740.com, schedule a call with me. And again, that is my740.com. Schedule a call with me and I will see if I can help you. Okay. So let's jump right in to Experimental Podcast number 2, with our topic today being about what can cost you a lot of money. These are costly lies. Okay. And when I say that this only exists on social media, what I'm talking about is you don't hear this at dealerships. You don't hear this from your loan officer. You don't hear this anywhere else other than Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. Okay. So if this existed, if these things were legit, if these things were real, if these were not lies, then you would see someone such as myself at every single place where you can obtain credit. The dealership, the mortgage place, whatever, even at Walmart. You go to Walmart, you get your taxes done, great. Get your credit done as well, because guess what? It's only a 30-day process. So why not? Why wouldn't it just be as simple as sit down with George? George is going to do your credit. And you know what? You can also go shopping for your bananas and your ground beef and all of that at the same time, right? It doesn't work like that. So here is what I'm talking about. And this is why it is so expensive. First of all, I'm seeing these TikToks and these Facebooks and whatever, and I'm even talking about where it's live, where they're commercializing credit repair. They're saying how easy it is to remove foreclosures and repossessions and charge-offs and blah, blah, blah. And all you have to do is sign up, pay $40 a month or $60 or $90 or $120, whatever. And they're not even doing it for you. They're just telling you that you can do this yourself using these specific letters. And what they're talking about are the 609 letters. And guess what? You can go from a 500 to an 800 in just 30 days. Not only that, but you can remove your student loans in 2 months, your bankruptcies, your foreclosures, your possessions, your charge-offs, whatever. And on top of that, not only can you remove them, but when they are removed, you do not have to pay for them. How about that? You don't have to pay for something just because it's deleted from your credit report. That is a lie. Think about your credit report as just a report that was run on a database. You see, your information is in these huge, massive databases with like 270 other scoreable consumers, right? And it's just a listing. It's just a listing. So when creditor or, collector A, B, or C goes and removes something from the database, it is just a deletion on said database of said record. It doesn't remove the actual obligation to pay because it doesn't even touch the actual account. You see, the creditors and the collectors pay the bureaus money to report this information, either derogatory only or full life. What that means is when you go and you obtain credit with someone, they have the ability to report you either for the entire duration of you having that account or just when you go negative, like a utility bill or a cell phone bill or whatever, right? That one's called derogatory only reporting, and we are going to talk about that in another video because in Experian's e-learning for, Metro 2, they specifically state this is a great way to cause a consequence for slow paying consumers who would otherwise pay someone else or buy something else instead of paying you. So they are not here to help you. So why is it so simple to remove these negative items? What people are not saying is that, hey, guess what? Section 609 has nothing to do with contracts. And you can argue with me all day long, but I know what I'm talking about. And this is why this doesn't work. Yes, guess what? You can dispute anything. You can say it's a Section 603 violation for all that matters. And guess what? Some of these are going to go through because they just don't want to deal with it. If it's more profitable for them to just delete it and get rid of you right now, then that's what they're going to do instead of continuing to pay for the dispute process and the investigation and blah, 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 and lose even more money. They're just going to go delete it and get rid of you. So that is why Section 609 works for some consumers some of the time. You see, but when you've got people saying that 100% of everything, what they're doing works 100% of the time, that's 300% BS, because nothing works 100% of the time with this. That is why this is something that is not investable. What that means is investors and creditors and collectors and lenders and all of them, they won't even touch you until the process actually works, right? Until your credit score is to a 740, a 620, or whatever the qualifications are, that's when they'll deal with you. But until this process is something that is, number one, guaranteed, which it is not, and number two, that it has consistent results, which it doesn't, this is not an investable thing, okay? So that is why you cannot go to a mortgage lender with a 500 credit score and tell them, and you can't even tell me that you can, okay? You can't sit there with your 500 credit score and say, oh, well, I have a 500 credit score, and what I want to do is, because this is such a simple process, it's a 30-day process, it's a 60-day process, that's what I was told. I want you to start my paperwork now, because by the time we get to closing, when you pull my credit report the second time, you're going to see that my collections, my foreclosures, my repossessions, my bankruptcies, and all my inquiries are gone, because this is a guaranteed process. No, dude, guess how much money you would be paying, whether on the front end or the back end? And most of the time it would be the back end, except for a document processing fee, right? Because it's guaranteed. You would be paying like $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 for a 30 to 60 day program. It's all about convenience. We live in a microwave society, okay? So when you have these people that are telling you, no, you don't have to pay for X type of account for your student loans unless there's a court order, unless you are forced to, they're lying to you. When it's removed from the database, which is where your credit report is generated from, that account still exists and your obligation does not go anywhere. Your obligation is still there to pay that creditor. So, and I've actually had people who get on the phone with me and they're like, well, am I paying you to remove this from my credit report? Or am I paying you to remove this from my credit report and not have to pay this account? Dude, you owe $10,000 on this account. Why would you be paying X, like, let's just say $150 or something per month, if it's getting removed from your credit report and you don't have to pay it? Wouldn't you be paying that $10,000 divided into however long the program is, 10 months, 12 months, 8 months, 6 months? On top of the person actually removing it from your credit report? You have to look at these things realistically. And a lot of people are also like, well, hey, you know what? I don't want to pay more for this account than I really have to remove it from my credit report, because I don't owe more than $300. So I don't want to pay more than $300 to remove from my credit report. What you're failing to realize is that even if it had a zero balance, it would still need to be removed from your credit report. And yes, I am jumping over, a couple of different things here. And that's why this is my experimental podcast, because I don't want to lock myself into like only 2 minutes of telling you what you need to hear, right? Limiting myself to give you what you need, right? But the entire point is the CFPB is cracking down on credit repair companies and people who purport to give information about credit repair that are lying and giving deceitful information. All you have to do is look it up. CFPB sues credit repair company for lying about the credit scores that someone can get in the program. Dude, it's even in the Credit Repair Organizations Act. You cannot tell someone something, a consumer, your client, something that you cannot guarantee. And you cannot guarantee a specific score increase. You cannot guarantee a specific deletion in any specific period of time, because you cannot force the bureaus, the creditors, the collectors to do anything. And if you are sitting there telling your client that, then guess what? You're putting yourself in a position to get sued. Case in point, this one, the stuff that actually exists only on social media. I saw a TikTok where, I don't know if it was like live. I don't know if TikTok does live because I don't market there. But anyways, they were live with somebody and they were saying that you can remove in 60 days, like your student loans, and you don't have to pay it, and you don't have to pay your medical accounts when they come off. I mean, unless you're actually forced to. And this is something where you can get sued for giving this information out publicly, because someone can hear that, believe what you're saying, and then not pay their bills. And guess what? Now you are in legal jeopardy because you lied to the general public about something that you have no conception of. Like, these people don't even go and read the FCRA and the FDCP and the FCBA. They don't do any of this studying. They're just given these modules or this course or whatever. They hear a video or they watch a video on YouTube of someone else giving bad information, and then they take it and they spin it however they want to. And that's another thing. They're giving information, only a part of the information, only a half of the entire truth, and then letting you create whatever you want to after that. Here's an example. In as little as 30 to 45 days, your negative items are going to come off because of this law that exists that says the bureaus have to reply, that the bureaus have to respond. Guess what? That other part of it, where, hey, that's only one round, and more than likely the bureaus are not going to respond because they're getting 1.5 million disputes per month per bureau versus the 150 to 180,000 that they normally get, means that they would have to pay like $765,000 in postage just to respond to those 1.5 million disputes in a month, and that's just one bureau. Who's paying that? Isn't it more profitable for them to just ignore you and have you go away? Yes, it is. So that's what I'm saying. They're only telling you half of this truth, and the only place that you hear this is on social media, is on TikTok, is on Twitter, is on Facebook, is on all of these different platforms where they just lie. All right. So unless you want to be sued, unless you want to have a judgment, unless you want to see money flying out of your bank account when they get a wage garnishment against you, stop believing when they tell you that you don't have to pay unless there's a judgment or a court order. Stop believing when they say that you don't have to pay an account that is deleted from your credit report. Stop believing when they say that your child support can be disputed, because guess what? People go to jail for child support. And if there's a company who's disputing it, they are not doing what's in the best interest of you, the consumer, their client. Okay. And guess what? When it doesn't work out for you because you just bought modules and templates and all of that, the blame goes on you. Oh, well, did you do module 4? Did you write it the right way? I'm sure you didn't, because these modules work. Where's the accountability? There is no accountability because they're not actually processing this for you on your behalf with the bureaus. They don't need to take accountability. They don't even need to have a credit repair merchant account, which is required for someone such as myself who processes disputes on behalf of somebody, because they can just go sell it with Stripe or with PayPal or whatever, because it's considered a course. Now, there are stipulations on that, and we'll talk about that in a different video on how to become a legit credit repair company. But for today, we're going to leave it just right there on that part. But and I don't want to make this long-winded or anything, but these are the things that you need to hear, because these people take no accountability. They blame it on the modules and templates. They are lying to you and are more than likely under investigation and going to get sued one of these days. But there's so many bad companies out there. There's so many bad consumers as well. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why this is a high risk industry. And again, we're going to talk about that in the video about becoming a legit credit repair company. But the CFPB has so many companies and people and whatever to go after that it's probably going to take a while for someone to get in trouble. And by the time that happens, they're probably going to stop anyways. Okay. So here's what you need to know. Here's the truth about it. To remove collections and foreclosures and repossessions and bankruptcies and student loans from your credit report, it is possible, but you need to do it without templates, without online disputes, without the illegal identity theft method using a police report when you are not a victim of identity theft. You need to use factual-based disputes to go after these and take the information directly from the credit report. And that is how you're going to remove these. And guess what? Yes, you still owe it when it comes off your credit report. Yes, you still owe that student loan. And yes, they're still going to come after you if it's federal for the rest of your life. So don't be surprised when they go and swoop it out of your taxes, when they swoop it out of your bank account, when you're just about kicking your grave and you're like 90 years old and they're still taking that money out of your savings and stuff, because there's nothing that is protected and it cannot be included in bankruptcy. Okay. So if it were that simple to remove these, if it were that simple to just send 1 or 2 letters to get these things off your credit report, then your credit wouldn't be the one determining factor of what house you live in, whether you can even have a house, whether you are borrowing money from mom and dad to put into your bank account or into your gas tank, right? Or into your motorbike or into your, to get a new tire for your bicycle because you can't afford that because your credit sucks because you can't get a good job. Your credit would not be the determining factor of what type of lifestyle you live, right? When I had bad credit, I had to pay for college out of pocket. I had to live with my parents. I had to drive a hoopty that my parents bought me for $5,500. It wasn't really a hoopty, but I mean, the amount of money that went into it was just for gas, just to get to work, was astronomical. And I felt bad for my parents because they actually bought it out of the money that they got when they sold their house. But anyways, that's a different story for a different day. But my credit held me back from a good job because I was literally denied. It held me back from going into the army at that time. It held me back from being a government civilian interpreter for the Spanish language. But anyways, your credit report, your credit score, they matter. And they are the determining factor because the lenders and the creditors and the collectors and all of them, they need to be able to trust this process. And if they cannot trust it because all it takes is one letter to get rid of this stuff, then they're going to stop lending. And there's going to be a centralized payment, system. What did I call it before? A centralized payment system where they can just go in and look up the actual factual information, tapping directly into your bank account and, all the banks and all of that, just like an ATM. But they're going to be able to see this collection and this foreclosure and this charge off that you didn't pay, and that, they're not going to give you any money, or they're not going to look twice at you. So if right now you can't get a secured card because your credit is holding you back, if right now you can't get an unsecured card because your credit is holding you back, if right now you can't even get a merchandise card because your credit is holding you back, if right now you can't even get a bank account because your credit is holding you back, or because you owe in check systems because you didn't pay and thought it was okay, then this is something that you need to really consider what I'm telling you, because I'm the only one that's going to tell you the truth about this. I'm the only one that doesn't allow you to go directly to my website and sign up, because I don't fish. I need to know that I can help you. If not, I don't offer my services, right? I'm the only one who's going to tell you that this is a difficult process, but when it's done the right way, you can move on with your life and not worry about your credit. I'm the only one who puts 500 videos out showing the exact way to remove negative items from the credit report for my clients, right? The same stuff that I do for my clients and that I've been doing for the past 10 years, I show you. So for someone to argue with me and tell me that, that I'm wrong would just be insane, because what do I gain out of telling you the things that you don't want to hear? It doesn't make you want to sign up with me. It doesn't make you want to reach out to me and, collaborate. It doesn't benefit me in any other way other than knowing that I told you the truth, and that now you can't get on the phone with someone and get bamboozled. I mean, you can't tell me that if I called you right now, like as a telemarketer, if I called you right now and said, "Hey, John, I've got the best news in the entire world. You came up on my list as having bad credit, and I can fix this in 60 days. And I don't care if you have a foreclosure. I literally don't care if the bank swooped your house right out from underneath your feet because you didn't pay them. I don't care if you have a bankruptcy. I don't care if you went to jail for child support. Whatever you have on your credit report, John, I can remove in 60 days. And it is guaranteed. It is guaranteed. to remove these from your credit report. So, hey, John, what do you say? $5,000 for 60 days and you can have a new life and move on? You think that's fair enough? You would hang up on me before I ever got to the "you think that's fair enough" part. Because guess what? You and I both know as grown-ass adults that this doesn't work this way. And yet, every single day I see people falling victim to this. And I don't want for you to be a victim. And that is why we're talking about this today. Because guess what? When you don't pay, and if it's within the statute of limitations, they can take that money from you. Let me give you a real life example. Before my father died of cancer 2 years ago in October, well, like almost 2 years ago, he, in his great wisdom, didn't pay Discover. And without taking him to court, they went in and took money every single month out of his bank account. $600. And my dad was on a fixed income. His pension and his retirement and some other stuff, right? But $600 is a lot of money when you're on a fixed income. And yet they were allowed to go in and every single month take $600 out of his bank account without suing him. So when you think that that's the only way for them to take you and, take your money is to sue you, that is incorrect. And you need to know that. Okay. I don't know what other companies there are that do that. And I don't know what the stipulations are, but it was for a credit card. And while my dad was lying on his freaking deathbed because there was no way for him to get out of the hospital and go to, Social Security and close his bank account and switch it to another account. They were still sitting there taking $600 out of my dad's bank account while he was dying of cancer. So if you don't think that this can happen to you, you're full of shit and you're lying to yourself. Okay. So can you remove these from your credit report and not have to pay for it? There are some instances, but it doesn't happen automatically. Because here's the thing. Think about this logically. If I have a medical collection and I dispute it and it comes back that you have no record for me, then what am I paying against? Why do I have to pay if you can't even, tag me onto this account? I shouldn't have to. And if you can't validate this account, then why am I paying for an account that you can't validate? Yes, those are great arguments, but when they're just removing it because of X or Y and there's no extenuating circumstances, then, this is something that you really need to think about and say, hey, you know what? She's absolutely right. If it's removed from my credit report, I still owe it unless I make other arrangements. So having said all of that, let's talk about what you can do moving forward to do this the right way. The other day, I think it was like 2 days ago or something, I came out with a video on how to switch from templates like the 609 or 1681 or 603, any templates over to factual-based disputes. You can go check out that video, but this entire process is really, really simple, and there's nothing complicated about understanding this. Removing something from your credit report does not remove the obligation to pay. Removing something from the credit report does not have to do anything with the actual account itself unless they state otherwise, like, hey, we're deleting this and you no longer have to pay for the account. It is a lie to tell you that when they remove something from the credit report that you no longer have to pay it. It is a lie when they say that a deletion means no obligation or the obligations are gone. It is a lie when they tell you that this is a simple process. It is a lie when they tell you that, that anything can and should be disputed on your credit report. All of those things are lies. So what you want to do is, number one, look at this realistically. Number two, understand that this is a process. Number three, understand that yes, these things can be removed, but using templates and modules and disputing online and disputing using the illegal identity theft method are not going to get you there. And if they are, it's probably going to be a temporary solution and you're going to have to do this all over again. It's going to be even more difficult. So when you go to do your disputes, please first watch my 500 videos. You can go through them and search by keywords like bankruptcy, collection, repossession, foreclosure, charge off, so on and so forth, and understand exactly how you should be disputing to, number one, get a deletion. Number two, to actually make it permanent so it doesn't get reinserted to your credit report. And number three, so that it is legal. Because the worst thing that you can do is submit a dispute that is going to bite you in the butt, like saying not mine when something actually does belong to you. And guess what? The dispute reason unverified is not an actual dispute reason, and it is not going to get you the results that you want and the results that you actually need. So the grand question is, can I legally get permanent results? The answer to that is yes. Yes, you can, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to take time. This is a process, but at the end of that process, you are going to be able to increase your credit score, get that house, get that mortgage, get that loan, get that car, get that boat, get the better neighborhood, get money in your bank account, get a better job, so on and so forth. It's just going to take time, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not your goals that are unrealistic. It's just the journey there. It is just the journey and not the destination that is unrealistic. So I'm not telling you that you can't do this, but what I am telling you is you can't do this the way that only exists on social media. Why? Again, for the last time, why is it that social media is the only place where they tell you how simple it is to get off a federal student loan? One that they can collect up until the day that you die. Why is it that only on social media exists that a bankruptcy that is the most difficult thing to remove from your credit report because you literally went bankrupt is so easy to remove in just a couple of days, just 30 days, just 60 days? Why is it that only on social media does it exist where in 30 to 45 days you're going to see results? Why is it that on social media it only exists where you can get a guarantee that they can force the bureaus, the creditors, and the collectors to remove things from your credit report? If you can't force them, I can't force them. If I can't force them, they can't force them. That's the same thing as you getting in trouble and you going to court and your lawyer lying to you and saying, hey, guess what? I can force the judge, the DA, prosecutor, whoever, and the jury to say that you're innocent, that you did not rob that liquor store, that you did not sell that weed, that you did not get caught with that handgun, that you did not crash into that pole and then that pole went over and caught that house on fire. I can guarantee it because I can force the judge, the prosecutor, and the jury all to say that you're innocent. That is what they're selling you online. And you and I both know that that does not exist. No lawyer, and you can't even argue with me about this, no lawyer is going to tell you that they can guarantee you anything. This is the way that works. They say, hey, John, I definitely understand that you don't want to go to jail, but this is the way that it works. First of all, I'm the lawyer. You got to let me do what I do. You retained me for a reason. Based on my 25 years experience with this, I have a good feeling. I'm pretty certain. Can't guarantee you, John, again, I can't guarantee you, but I got a pretty good feeling, just because of the way that, the evidence that we have that supports our case, that you're probably only going to do 2 years. So yeah, the government is offering, their offer is 25 years. But I'm pretty certain that if we go to trial with our evidence that we're going to use to support the fact that you didn't know there was anybody in that house when you crashed into that pole when you were, drinking and driving, or, your WI or whatever, that we can get you 2 years. But I can't guarantee you, because it's illegal for me to guarantee you something that I cannot force. Right? That is how that works. And I know that there's many people that can hear this and understand exactly what I'm talking about. I've been in trouble with the law. My lawyer said the exact same thing. I can't guarantee you, but based on the blah, blah, blah. I know that if you've gotten in trouble, your lawyer said, I can't guarantee you, but, right? This is no different, because you cannot force the bureaus, the creditors, and the collectors to do anything. And anybody that says anything other than that is lying to you. And they're going to get caught. And they're going to get in trouble. So heed my warning. This is difficult, but It can happen. This is difficult, but when it's done the right way, you're going to get a better credit score. And here's another thing. I forgot this one. I didn't even write it on my list. I got my little list here. You can hear my paper right here. I forgot to let you know that there's also people who, and this only exists on social media, are guaranteeing that your score goes up when you get those deletions. Guess what? It doesn't work like that. Your score can go down. A deletion does not automatically mean that your score will increase. In fact, it can decrease because they're removing the wrong things, or you are removing the wrong things. There's certain things on your credit report, like really old paid charge-offs, that if removed can drastically decrease your credit score. And I'm talking like 200 points. All right. So when you are disputing, you need to know how to dispute. You should know what should and should not be removed from your credit report to retain the score, or to obtain the score, or to get to the score that you want to get to. So if you have all positive accounts that are less than 2 years old, and then you have a negative account that is 7 years old or like 6 years old, and it is paid, by removing that 6-year-old account, your credit score is going to go down. And now your credit is only going to be made up of less than 2 years. So yeah, your credit score is going to go down. It's not going to go up. So when they are telling you that your credit score is going to increase automatically with deletions, that is another lie. And guess what? That is another thing that the CFPB can sue them for. All right. So if you, my friend, are one of those people that are giving that bad advice, you need to stop right now. Let me be the one to warn you and say, you need to stop right now. Now, if you are the consumer that is seeing this stuff and believing it, let me tell you, my friend, stop believing that right now. All right. So it's been 30 minutes. I'm going to end this here. Like I said, this is my experimental podcast. I don't want to limit myself, and I don't want to feel restricted. And with my normal videos, I do feel a little bit restricted because, everything has to be no pauses, and you have to have an exact thing that you're talking about, or you're going to lose people here, here, and here. I don't want to worry about this. All I want to do is give you the information that you need, and I want to say it in my time. All right. So if you stayed to the end, great. If you didn't, well, then it doesn't matter, because you're not going to hear this part anyway. So again, this is not a simple process, but it is possible. It's called a process because it takes time. They're called rounds because they take time. There's round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So on and so forth, right? If it were not a process, it wouldn't be called a process. If it didn't take time, it wouldn't be called a process. If it didn't take time, it wouldn't be called a system. And the only people who win in this process with this system are the people who use timeliness to their advantage. All right. So if you want to remove your negative items the right way, you only need to use factual-based disputes. When there's a better solution that comes out, I will be the first person to tell you. And guess what? I would not be shy about telling you if there were something that were guaranteed and faster, okay? I would be the first person to offer it to you. And I'm not, because it doesn't exist. So you have to have realistic expectations. You can get there. I can get you there. You can get you there. Even they can get you there. But it needs to be realistically. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and take care.